Representative McDaniel, you're now recognized to introduce us to our Veteran of the Week.
We have a great Oklahoman with us and a great American as our Veteran of the Week. Mr. Charles Steiger, or Chuck, as he's known by his friends and his family, has served our country with honor. Would the clerk please read the citation?
Clerk will read.
Whereas Chuck Steiger is a resident of House District 83, whose distinguished military career includes serving in the United States Merchant Marines during World War II, as well as the United States Army Air Corps and Air Force. And whereas Chuck Steiger enlisted in the U.S. Merchant Marines in 1945 at the age of 17 with his mother's signature. Upon graduation from the U.S. Maritime Service training, he was deployed to the port of Balboa at the Panama Canal, where he served on a T-2 tanker, the SS Idaho Falls on the Pacific Ocean side, and later the freighter SS Unico. Aboard the T-2 tanker and freighter, Chuck embarked on missions delivering crude oil and phosphates to the Persian Gulf, Pearl Harbor, Venezuela, Cuba, and several ports along the United States eastern seaboard. And whereas Chuck Steiger continued his distinguished military career following the celebrated Allied victories in Europe and the Pacific by joining the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1946. Stationed at Ladd Field in Fairbanks, Alaska as the base photographer with the 72nd Reconnaissance Squadron, Chuck flew 24-hour missions over the North Pole operating large cameras mounted in the B-29 bombers and capturing photographs used to assist the U.S. government in mapping the region. And whereas Chuck Steiger served as an airman in 1947 when the United States dissolved the U.S. Army Air Corps as a branch of the U.S. Army and established the United States Air Force. He spent the final months of his military career as a sergeant with the Cold Weather Test Detachment in Alaska. It was during this time serving in the U.S. Air Force that Chuck met his lovely wife, Ann Jacobs, whom he married in March of 1949. And whereas Chuck Steiger's military achievements are remarkable, for his service in the U.S. Merchant Marines, Chuck was awarded the Merchant Marine Atlantic War Zone Bar, the Pacific War Zone Bar, and the World War II Victory Medal. In recognition of his accomplishments as an airman with the U.S. Army Air Corps and Air Force, he received the Army Good Conduct Medal as well as earned his aircrew member wings. Chuck's honorable military service concluded in June 1949, and was among the most honored of all of those in public service are veterans who have protected all Americans from enemies, both foreign and domestic, to preserve our freedoms and way of life. And whereas the Oklahoma House of Representatives of the 54th Legislature takes great pride in honoring Chuck Steiger as Veteran of the Week on April 28, 2014. Now therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Randy McDaniel, the state of Oklahoma extends to Charles E. Steiger, Sr. sincere commendations and directs that this citation be presented.
Mr. Steiger has many members of his family here, and I'd like to introduce a few of them. They're up here in the gallery. Kathy, Nancy, and Charles Jr., as well as some grandchildren. I've been thinking about this for a long time. We started this process a couple years ago waiting for a slot, and it's an honor that we could do it today. Would you please give them a round of applause for all they've done? On behalf of a grateful state and nation, we salute you for your years of outstanding service. I'd like to present you with a flag that has flown above the state capitol in your honor. Would you do us the honor of saying a few words and then leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I want to thank Speaker Jeff Hickman, Representative Randy McDaniel, Representative Gary Bance for this honor. You just don't know what it means to me. And to everybody else in the House. It had anything to do with this. I appreciate this so much. Can we say this, the Pledge of Allegiance now?
Sergeant Steiger, you're recognized to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.